I can hear you. I can definitely hear
Okay.
you.
All
We
right.
in
I'll
there.
fall back till I'm ready.
Oh, you say you'll fall back?
Well, I'm I'll
Oh,
jump
okay,
in when
cool, cool,
you.
cool. Okay, I'll keep you there. All right, cool, cool.
Okay.
So, um, so again, FBA prescribes how you view immigrants, pursue reparation, relate to Pan Africanism, and define group loyalty. It defines how you see these things. It dilutes your ideas. It gives you ideas such as Elon Musk can be an African American, and you believe it. And I'm not saying like I'm saying like we just have to do the research. Like me, who's steeped in identity, I also always have to go back and check because identity is a very complex. It's complex. Let's just say that. All right, let's keep moving with dear Baba Amos Wilson. All right, so I put here FBA's official ideological framework from let's put it. Let's do this. So FBA official ideological framework from FBA official, I mean the official FBA.com 2025, the website. FBA or FBAs has to currently be skeptical about this is something in the website. FBAs have to be currently be skeptical about certain half FBA people who want to act as spokespersons for FBA collectively. If a person has dual allegiances to different ethnic groups and cultures, it's difficult to determine if they will look out for the best interests of FBA. Um, it says here creates categories. FBA creates categories. Loyalists to their FBA lineage versus anchored tethers who view FBA society as a group to exploit and ultimately replace. And then it goes back, and then it goes on to say frames post 1965 black immigrants as buffers used by white power structure to undermine FBA. It frames post 1965 black immigrants as buffers used by white power structure to undermine FBA. This is what's on the website. Analysis. These are ideological prescriptions about allies, enemies, leadership, legitimacy, and political trust, not genealogy. Okay, let's go back to the first one. FBA has to currently be skeptical about certain half FBA people who want to act as spokespersons for FBA collectively. If a person has dual allegiance, if a person has dual allegiance to different ethnic groups and cultures, it's difficult to determine if they will look out for the best interests of FBA. This is, I think, a key point that I want to highlight. It definitely speaks about half FBA. So for example, right? My wife is from Jamaica. She's been here since she was 14. We have children. And it's telling you how to deal with these offspring. Because I'm from the United States, my wife is from Jamaica. It's telling you have to be careful with dealing with these. And the website even goes on to say that you can't have dual allegiances. You have to only have allegiance to FBA. That in of itself is anti-Pan African. That one thing on Tariq Nasheed's website, that one aspect on Tariq Nasheed's website is clear that you have to be. Hold on, I want to say thank you for the super chat, super sticker, or whatever. Thank you, John Kane. I think, John Kane is the one who came in the building. All right. I want to say that it says that you can't have dual allegiances. You have to be totally committed to FBA issues and FBA issues alone. That is on Tariq Nasheed's website, his official FBA.com. Tariq Nasheed is the one who created the label. Tariq Nasheed is the one that everybody is afraid to critique because for whatever reason. I'm talking about, you never really hear FBA people really critique Tariq Nasheed in any significant way. Not in a significant manner. And what they try to do is juxtapose Tariq Nasheed next to Umar Johnson as if people who identify as Pan-Africanists actually take Umar Johnson seriously. And we have mad critique for Umar Johnson, which is bonkers and is disingenuous. I was listening to the show, and I know my dear brother knows this as well. He knows that. I'm talking about Brother Ted, like he knows that. Like he's sitting there on that couch, you know what I'm saying, in the group think, and I know he knows that he knows that I have mad critique for Umar Johnson. And most of us I've had critique for Umar Johnson, and to the degree that on Dr. Mayat's show, Dr. Mayat, myself, and others are saying we question whether or not he qualifies, again, because identity category, there's some qualification there. You know what I mean? There's some qualification to these social constructs. So does he even qualify as a Pan-Africanist? Past the rhetoric, past what he says out of his mouth, does his actions align with Pan-Africanists or Pan-Africanism, whatever version he's practicing? I think in any social construct, we can challenge whether or not a person really meets that criteria. And that's what we don't understand. But the reality is we challenge Umar Johnson. See, those people like Sincere Love to God, those people like, I think my brother Ted would critique. I will say that. I don't know. Ted is kind of dealing with this whole Indian thing too. Like, look, that's my brother too. Like, we've talked about this before. I just didn't know how far it went because for the most part, he can be logical, but I think Ted is one, like, he's holding on to the whole idea about his grandmother said this, that, and third, and respect to that. But at the same time, I think he's not really considering the damage of an FBA, the identity label. I think he's not considering the damage because on the surface, FBA makes a lot of sense for people. It, for me, is a very attractive term. And I understand how it describes us. It sounds pretty cool. And if Tariq Nasheed had not been the one who created it, and it wasn't created under these circumstances, and it was created from more of a pure need, on a need basis, I wouldn't have any problem with the term. But the term itself is loaded with Tariq Nasheed's ideas. He created a term, and you're going to argue that it doesn't have an ideology. There's no reason for any new terms to describe things if there's no ideas behind them. Like, there has to be a set of ideas that say we need this for these reasons. And if you go to the website, again, he says FBA has to currently be skeptical about certain half FBA people who want to act as spokespersons for FBA collectively. If a person has dual allegiances to different ethnic groups and cultures, it is difficult to determine if they will look out for the best interests of FBA. So he said, no, they cannot serve as leadership. So Pan-Africanists can't operate, at least as leadership. They at least as leadership. They can't operate as leadership. That's the ideology. The ideology is saying you can't be a Pan-Africanist and also be in leadership in FBA. Like, again, who makes that decision? There's no ideology. Again, I asked the question, who's the judge? There's no organization. How do you decide that? Again, you say that we all are FBA, but then who decides whether or not, who makes that decision? Like, where did that rule come from if there's no ideology? See, there's a mixture of anachronistic capturing of all Black people under this label from now, and historically Black people in America whose parents came, or forefathers and mothers came through chattel slavery in this country, that makes this a very complex scheme that he's putting forth. It's creating a way to confuse your mind, because there's aspects of it that pulls on your emotional strings. When you start saying, well, Stevie Wonder is an FBA. When you start saying that, Martin Luther King was an FBA. When you start saying things like, Billie Holiday, when you just start saying all these historical figures are FBA, it does something. It puts you in a trance. And I'm being real honest, because it's a very strategic trance that he's putting you in. And as Dr. Amos Wilson speaks about, we have historical amnesia. We also, he says, we historically, when we don't know our history, we're actually hallucinating. He says it's essential that we understand our history, and then we also understand, as we're talking about here, identity. Because, see, he's mixing and meshing identity and rewriting narratives, and his disciples come on here and say stuff like that. I don't think he's from the Nishidian strand, though, but he might be he is an offshoot of it. FBA is a subgroup of that's a subgroup of the African American population in this country. It is not the 41 million they claim, or 42 to 43, wherever you go, you get the numbers. It is not that. FBA is an ideological movement. I hear, like, one thing I appreciate about my brother Ted and even Sincere is that they're clear. They've used the word movement. They say FBA movement. The word movement is indicative that it is a political endeavor, and political endeavors require some ideological framework or some framework in the making. It might not be a well-established framework or has well-established frameworks, but it definitely has Tariq Nasheedism and Tariq Nasheedism in it. Family, show me some love. Make sure you like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel. Let's see what the time looking like. Okay, so again, let's get through this. Let's get through this presentation, family. So, so something happened here. So, let me just do it this way because it kind of went off. Okay. So let's get back to this. The second point creates categories: loyalists to their FBA lineage versus anchored tethers who view FBA society as a group to exploit and ultimately replace. This is what they this is what they put out. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying there's no individuals out here that don't have some interesting ideas, because people do. But I have not seen the group that is vile as committed to these diasporan wars, or black people wars, or Afro descendant war, as much as I've seen with what we call FBA. I don't see it. Now, you have individuals, you might have some friends who share ideas, but I have not seen it. I'm looking for it. Please share with me the great organization, the lineage of Africans that or Caribbeans that's spending so much time in trying to come at FBA or FBAs or African Americans or Caribbean Americans or any direction thereof. So then again, it frames post-1965 black immigrants as buffers used by white power structures to undermine FBA. It's on the website, family. It's on the website. This is a part of the ideology, family. It's a whack ideology, but it's an ideology. Let's see what y'all saying in the chat. He got that root work going. I saw that root work, American Dream. Oh boy. I saw that root work. I said, oh boy, what we got going on here? I said, his name is Root Work. Oh man, I gotta be careful with dude. But maybe he was African root work, but I guess I was wrong, because according to him, there's no the whole idea of the enslavement process was made up and all this type of thing. All right, closing this slide out. These are ideological prescriptions about allies, enemies, leadership, legitimacy, and political trust, not genealogy. It's not just a basic framework. It's not this framework that we say is just a neutral framework. Neutral frameworks don't have this at all. And again, even if we didn't have this on the website, we would understand, as Dr. Amos Wilson put down, there's no neutral identities. You understand? As I share with people all the time, my dissertation was on Black identity. And I know how much work it takes to really understand these things, and how complex identity is. A lot of us want to see identity in a very rigid way, and it's more complex than that. Sometimes I hear people say, well, that's a nationality, not an ethnicity, and this and that other. But we have to understand, even in that, there's no hard rules to these things, because there's no hard rules to lots of the things that we fight about. And that is the struggle in social science. Social science is, you have to operationally define things. And that's the essentialness. Okay, how FBA identity was formed. Wilson's conditioning model applied to FBA. Leadership. Tariq Nasheed coins and promotes FBA. The official FBA.com codifies the doctrine in a very loose sense. It's a whack doctrine, but it is what it is. It's there, right? Ideology production, rules about who is FBA, loyalty tests, anti-Pan-African narrative, suspicion of immigrants. It's there, y'all. It's there. And it's more that's inside the heads of the leaders than what's on this website. Let's be clear about that. Social conditioning, rewards, in-group validation for staying on code. If another one of them say stay on code, I'm gonna Earl, I'm gonna throw up, like be on code, stay on, like you sound like a robot. It's sickening. Stand on code, and they say it the same ways. And the reality is, it's so funny because I sit here and when I can't stomach their videos much, but when I go over to their stations for a little while, then I realize they are imitating Tariq Nasheed. These are clones. They even smack their lips like them. They even say you dig like them. I'm like, whoa, this is crazy. The cult is real. You know, cults have evolved. They don't look the same anymore. As Brother Unc often speaks about, there's something called an internet cult. You know what I mean? So we really have to be clear that just because it doesn't look like it used to look, it doesn't mean that it's not a cult, family. Cults are real. So, man. So, again, media dissemination, podcasts, YouTubes, social media, spread talking points. See, Dr. Amos Wilson spoke about the spreading of the ideas and the ideologies and the culture and through media. And Tariq Nasheed is a media influencer. Again, I often say that if you don't want to use the word leader, he definitely says he's an influencer. And he's the #1 FBA creator and influencer. And everyone else is pretty much a copy of him. And they might evolve and might tweak it a bit. But when you truly look at it, they smack their lips like him. They talk like him. They have the same circular reasoning when and they have the same tactics when they bring somebody on. They have the same ways they cut people off. He has a book that they have studied and imitated. It's real out here. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. You know, let's talk. So again, social conditioning rewards to in-group validation for staying on code. You know, you don't be like, for example, I'm not called a tether. My dear sister was called a tether, and she's been supportive to some degree of people identifying how they want to identify. But you still called a tether, whether or not you're still called a tether if you disagree with anything. And you don't have to be from another country. The brother who came on earlier, I use brother loosely, but I know he's my brother. You know, you guys, sometimes your brothers are sick. It is what it is. You can't, when your brothers are sick, they sick. But the brother came on earlier. And what did he say? I just lost it. He said that they are tethers. He's the extreme variant of FBA. What was his name, y'all? Oh, his name was Rootwork. Mm-hmm. Rootwork. He said that all Africans and Caribbeans are tethers. If I stand correct, he said they're all tethers. So again, we have to be careful in the movements we create, because it doesn't see that apple is not too far from the origin, the primary root of FBAism, from the Nasheedian variant. See, the Nasheedian variant knows that it will create things like that, because you're going to always have extremes. And if the variant itself is an extreme already, it's going to create even more an even more intense and potent variant of whatever it is that you're creating. In this case, FBA. Result: a socially constructed identity. This is what it is. FBA identity was formed. Result: a socially constructed identity with an embedded ideology. It's not a neutral label. Wilson, identity is a result. Wilson says identity is a result of a culture approving and disapproving or rewarding and not rewarding to shape the individual in a way that benefits the culture. FBA, sadly enough, is forming a culture. It's a very sick culture. It's a very traumatized culture. It's a very black and white culture. It's a very defensive culture. It's a culture for people who need, for most of them, they need great healing. There are those who are just a bit confused about this. I just want to be clear. But those who are in and they understand and they read and they understand what FBA is and they down with the cause, kind of like root work. There's some things that need to be done there. There's some work that he needs to do. There's some work that he needs to do, or work that he'll never be able to do. Yeah, people like that. So again, let's keep it moving. It's a culture being formed. They talk a certain way. They see the world with a certain worldview. They approve and disapprove. They reward and they punish. And this is a way that you shape culture. Dr. Amos Wilson says, let's listen to him.
We must recognize that the basic identities of the oppressed are largely socially manufactured by their oppressors' culture and related social practices. And to a good extent, what we call Black culture in America today, even though it has deep African roots and African history still buried in it, is still related to and incarnations of Europe-centric culture. And we've got to recognize this and deal with it. We just can't praise it.
Yeah, so we just can't praise it. You know what I mean? And we have to understand that what we call culture and identity here in this country is being formed as a result of our experience here. And if you're not intentional, you will just recreate a more oppressed version of the dominant culture. And I argue and maintain that is what FBA is. FBA is from more of the conservative strand of this culture. And when I say conservative, I mean right-wing strand of this culture, which is very skewed and limited in their perspectives. And they're all about tradition and what's the guy name? I can't remember his name, but he says he said something about what's the white guy's name? Tucker Carlson. And he said, yeah, I like those FBA guys. Who's more heritage Americans than FBA? And I tell you, if that wasn't enough for you right there, well, I don't know. Wahoo HP, peace and blessings. JG, let's see what JG's saying in the chat, man. American Dream guy, oh Lord, it went away. What happened to it? It went away. All right, look, I'm gonna just leave that one alone. So nonetheless, hold on, I was trying. All right, so nonetheless, let's get back to it. So again, the culture that we find and the culture that we see in FBA, it is a sub-oppressive culture. It's a sub-oppressive identity that is mimicking the dominant culture in this society. I did a video just yesterday, and I said that as I was listening to what I heard over there in Sincere's podcast with Divine and Tad, it just reinforced the idea that they don't want, or nor do they believe in African or Black people. They don't believe that we can, and I'm not even saying that we haven't. I'm saying that we do this already. I'm saying Pan-Africans already doing work. They're tired and frustrated with the work. They're tired and frustrated, so they want to join who they believe is the winning team. But as subjects of that team, whether they know it or not, that is what they adopted. They are subjects of that team. They are sub-oppressors. FBA is a sub-oppressive project. And some don't know that. You know, on that panel, the only one that I think that could wake up from this is Tad. Because to me, I think he's the only genuine person on there. Although I think the groupthink was kicking in. But again, as I offered up on my video the other day, is that they were saying like they don't want to talk to us. They will dust Umar's boots. They will give Umar that work pretty much. I mean, they were just agreeing with Sincere. Sincere can't fight his way out of a paper bag intellectually. And this is what I mean, like, come on, man. Look, again, I'm very critical of Umar, more critical of Umar than I would be of Sincere. I believe Sincere sincerely lost, or maybe insincerely lost. But Umar, I think, is very problematic in a major way. And Sincere is getting there, by the way. His numbers are growing, but he's not the same threat. But Umar would obliterate him. What is he talking about? He couldn't hold, look, when we was on Dr. Mayat's station, me, Dr. Mayat, Brother Unc, Dewan B, and Sincere. Sincere was lost in that conversation. He didn't know what to say. And I was just coming, I didn't even know what was going to go down like that for real. I didn't know what was really happening. You know what I'm saying? There was no preparation. I mean, I've since then have gone and really researched these things and looked at these claims, and they're not real. These fallacious ideas. And I've already known that they weren't, but even the ones that I thought could probably have some relevance don't have any relevance. They say stuff like there's no delineation on the census, and they say that we need this FBA title to get reparations, and they say all types of stuff that, you know, others start to walk back once they start to look at my videos and maybe other people's videos. Because I listened to the brother African, was an Pan-African think tank, and he was saying some real stuff over there. I heard him today. I'll probably start listening to him a bit more just to see what his perspective is, because what I heard him saying, you know, I share perspective. I'm not assuming he watches this station. I'm not assuming that either, but I do know that we have similar conclusions, and I appreciate what I've heard from him thus far. I think I see something going on. Hold on. Okay. Who? Okay. Okay. I got that. Okay, let me go back to the chat. We're gonna close this one out strong too, family. So Dr. Amos Wilson, who shapes identity? I maintain that FBA is a child of MAGA. FBA is a child of conservative white supremacy culture in this country. I maintain that FBA are those, if our dear Harriet Tubman's statement is accurate, who said she would have freed thousands more if they only knew they were slaves. They are the representatives of that. I maintain that. Whether that happened or not, if Mama Harriet said that or not, the sentiment still exists. The sentiment still lands. FBA's anti-Pan-African stance, documented positions from FBA and ADOS leadership. FBAs often say Pan-Africanism is dead. I don't really hear real FBAs, because those who just say I can identify an FBA, I like it, they don't really know. They're not really that they don't really know. Like, and if they do know, it's kind of like they don't still know. Like the impact in the deposits, what they're trying to deposit, and what they're trying to deposit in the minds of our people, and the impact that it will have. I think that, again, those who say that you can be Pan-Africanist and FBA are extremely confused. Whether that's because they lack the information or because they haven't fully been ready to wake up, they're extremely confused. African Americans are more genetically connected to white Americans than other Africans. They say stuff like that. they say stuff like that. You know what I mean? They say stuff like that, and then they will say, well, they all look. This is a movement in its infancy. It's not going to get any better. It's just going to get worse. Again, I like to go back to my thought of the statement I made earlier, is that, and I want to say that several times, is that you might find some pseudo ideas within individuals in Pan-African spaces or African-centered spaces, but this is not the movement itself. You're going to find pseudo ideas wherever you go, but FBA is a pseudo movement. It is a pseudo identity, and it has a pseudo ideology that undergirds it. And not only what undergirds it, but what it's still building and projecting forth. FBA is toxic. The leaders of FBA are toxic. The influencer, the creator, the person who coined the term is a toxic person. If you can't see that, you're blind. And you're really blind. You like, or you're trying to, or you're hurt. You get some special feeling about being perhaps in proximity with this person, or perhaps you think you might make it on Hidden Colors 20. See, this is a thing. People will do some strange things for a little change or potential change. Not social change, but money or potential money. And maybe not money, but potential popularity. We have to really look at this in a political way. We cannot look at FBA and identity in an apolitical way, because identity has the ability to destroy us. Identity has social, political ideas that have the ability to destroy us and stop other things, to make our struggle. No, we have to fight this thing. And when people ask me whether or not I would sit with Tariq Nasheed, I think people think that somehow Tariq Nasheed is a person that is, why would I sit with Tariq Nasheed? Tell me that. There's nothing about him, and there's nothing about sitting with him that I would feel good about. I don't want to be in Hidden Colors. It would help me be popular. I'm not worried about being popular. I do want these messages to get out. If I was popular in the way that we were promoting and pushing healthy forms of Pan-Africanism, yeah, let's do that. Healthy forms of healing, yeah, let's do that. But those things that perpetuate trauma in our community, that's problematic. And I don't want anything to do with it. It's just gotten worse over time. It's gotten worse over time. But I'm saying Hidden Colors and the power that we give this person is just gotten worse over time. People say, well, they used to be different. Umar was different. No, see, the thing is, I've been warning people about this for a long time. When you see them acting mature, that is indicative of their trauma. People who talk the way they talk and behave the way they behave are showing you who they are. And we think that somehow we all flawed. And I often say, I get it. We all got what you call flaws. And I say, well, I'm not speaking about flaws. I'm speaking about frauds. There's a difference between a flaw and a fraud. It says Njemila. I can't say the name. Njemil Atan. Njemile. Okay, thank you. Do not waste your energies on someone like Tariq. He is a demon in disguise. He is toxic. He and his followers are the same. I'm hoping, like, I would say, I definitely agree with the Tariq part, but I'm hoping that we can win some and heal some of the minds of the people who are following him, because there's so many people that, as one person said earlier, they used to follow Tariq. See, we have to learn how to identify certain personalities. And it's very clear to me that Tariq Nasheed and his personality is that which will continue to utilize pimp tactics to get over on our people. And it's not even about getting over on our people. Let me reframe that. He will continue to use pimp tactics to maintain the lifestyle he maintains at this point in time. So he will continue to do whatever he has to do to continue to live to whatever standard it is that he's living at right now. And I'm saying on a material level. So again, there's a difference between a fraud and a flaw. Okay, so advocacy, FBA's anti-Pan-African stance, documented positions from FBA, ADOS leadership, advocacy for limiting Black immigrants visas. They do things like that. BW21, so on and so forth. Wilson's counter framework. My position as a Pan-Africanist, FBA's ideological framework structurally opposes Pan-African unity.
Do I do with my life? Identity, to the extent that it is a cultural product, and identity is a cultural product. And I want to emphasize this because, you see, in this society, we stress individualism. And I try to get across to people all the time that in reality, there's no such thing as an individual. That is a social fiction. It is a type of label we use, but it does not exist in reality. That the individual, the thing that we call an individual, is really a synthesis of social experience. A unique combination of our having interacted with others and having undergone social experiences, and it's our unique way of expressing our social relations and our experiences. But who we are and what we are is the result of social relations. It is not something that is completely what? Unique to us and not shared on some level with others. The very fact that you speak a language means that you have a shared identity on some level. If you were completely individual, no one would be able to understand what you were saying. You see? You cannot fit into what? An ordered system and in an ordered society. If you want to imagine you can be a complete individual if you're in space all by yourself. But then what would be the point? It would have no what? No meaning. It would be pointless. Even the concept of individual can only achieve its definition within a social structure. It only has meaning within a social structure and in terms of relating socially to someone else. Otherwise, it is pointless. It is the social that creates the individual, not the other way around. And yet those who rule over us, you see, will have us think that we can be individuals in and of ourselves and by ourselves without any connection whatsoever to anyone else. And in that way, of course, it can maintain the disunity of our culture and maintain our disunity as a people and ultimately destroy us as a people. So identity.
So my point of this clip is that a lot of us who I will argue to a great degree struggle with political struggle, and many of us, or to varying degrees, including myself, we look at the simplest things as just being my right. Like, it's my right to identify how I want to identify, but not knowing and not taking into account, because it's not even your radar, the social, cultural, political implications. We think that we have those rights. First of all, I put here on the slide, rights granted by oppressive systems can be withdrawn when inconvenient or when convenient. Again, when we say, well, it's my right, I have the right. I hear people say they have the right to do, like, you can do it. But I think, again, we should ask the question, what's the political implications? What kind of outcomes will come from you making these decisions? See, individuals think that way. People who say, well, I can do it. I can do it. It's my right. It's my identity. Just like the sister told me not too long ago, who came on about the women and men conversation. It's my social media. but you're not considering the social implications. You're not considering the social outcomes, the potential outcomes as a result of your decision making. See, when you look at things from a Pan-Africanist and moreover African-centered lens, you are to consider the social implications, the social political implications. In fact, it's my right should come out your mouth very rarely, because it's about the collective, not an exclusion to you, but understanding that when you look at things from a collective sense, you are also concluded. You also included. But when we look at things as my right, that is a very Eurocentric construct. I have the right to identify. Like, I mean, that's cool. You do. I mean, I guess. I mean, you got to fight first and foremost to have any rights. And again, as I stated several times in this presentation, that identity is one of the things that people fight for. It is a social construct. It is a social, political, cultural construct. FBA is fighting hard to be identified as FBA with all types of delusions, and it looks like, listen to the brother early, hallucinations. I'm just kidding on the hallucinations part, but delusions, deluded, I would say. Maybe not. It sounds like there's some hallucinating going on there. But nonetheless, yeah, we say things like that. But we have to be very intentional. People who operate from a social political framework and ideology realize that you don't just do things because they feel good or they feel right. You have to really consider, is it aiding in your cause? Is it detracting or subtracting from your cause, the movement that you're fighting for? You have to ask the question, how does this fit in this movement? FBA is a anti-Pan-Africanist, anti-Black internationalist, or what have you, construct. So what do I have here? I think I have it here. Can I be both FBA and Pan-African? Common objection. It's my personal choice to identify as both FBA and Pan-African. My response: you can say you are both. You can say you are both. But as Wilson argues, ethnic identity is a prescription of behaving, for seeing yourself and seeing each other and seeing the world. FBA doctrine prescribes suspicion of immigrants, boundaries around dual allegiances, and rejection of Pan-African solidarity. Pan-Africanism prescribes transnational unity and shared struggle across the diaspora. These prescriptions point in opposite directions. These prescriptions point in opposite directions. Individual self-description is real, but the political content of FBA ideology has objective effects that undermine Pan-African projects, regardless of personal intentions. African American is sufficient, I say. A historical precedent. African Americans emerged in the 1980s, 1990s as self-determined ethnonym. Specifies descendants of enslaved Africans in the U.S. Allies ideological diversity, Pan-African nationalists, integrationists even. Reparations argument. Genealogy and documentation matter for claims. Again, reparations argument. Genealogy and documentation matter for claims. A new ethnonym is not required. California's reparations task force used African American successfully.
Thank you.
FBA's anachronistically move retroactively applying FBA to all 43 million Black Americans with enslaved ancestry creates a confusion. FBA is a subgroup. FBA is a subgroup within the African American population. Let me say it again. FBA is a subgroup within the African Americans who adopt a specific ideological framework, not a totality of the population, as I've said at various times throughout this presentation. So, in conclusion, I want to say identity as power. Identity is never neutral. It always carries ideology. FBA is an ideological project which prescribes boundaries and loyalties. FBA is an ideological project that prescribes boundaries and loyalties. It creates internal divisions and rejects Pan-Africanism. It creates internal divisions and rejects Pan-Africanism. African American is sufficient. It is a sufficient ethnonym. Genealogy matters for reparation, not a new label. The question is, whose power? To what end? And as I started this presentation out today, I said that I would give you my opinion. And I want to be clear that when I say FBA is a war against Pan-Africanism. FBA is an ideological construct that is warring on Pan-Africanism. It is not about your individual hurts and your skewed perspectives about what people are doing holistically against us. Yes, let me be clear. They are ignorant Africans. They are ignorant Caribbeans. They are ignorant African Americans. They are ignorant people everywhere. But even if they were all ignorant, that is not enough to say that Pan-Africanism is not a necessity. Because even if they were ignorant, the goal of Pan-Africanism is to wake them up. FBA's goal is to put you back to sleep. Again, it doesn't matter if only 10% of Africans had enough information, or 10% of Caribbeans, or 10% of African Americans showed strong solidarity to one another, which is not the case. It's quite the opposite. But even with that, our goal as Black people or African people is to realize that we have an enemy that becomes stronger as a result of our division. So the goal is to bring us together. Family, if anybody wants to jump in before I get off of here, we got the link. We got the link. The link is in the chat. As Sister Queen say, don't hold back. We don't have much more time here. But again, Pan-Africanism is about global solidarity. Does that mean everybody? Fools, no. It doesn't mean everybody. We're not that foolish to think that everybody. Does that mean every country? It doesn't even mean every country has to agree. But the more you that do agree, the stronger we'll become. Doesn't mean every African American, because we're not foolish enough to think that every African American is going to believe this, or fight for this. Again, Harriet Tubman said that I could have. Well, we said it. The legend says that Harriet Tubman says that I could have freed more of them if they only known they were slaves. I am arguing, I maintain that Tariq Nasheed is operating from a sub-oppressive position. He's a puppet master. And he has cronies that want to get close to him for popularity, for pay, for just feeling like you're powerful. Popularity, pay, and power. So, family, FBA is anti-Pan-Africanist. And there's no way that you can be both. I want to see anybody who argues against this point to put their presentation forth. Not just any loose talking. The same people who use Amos Wilson, they try to use Amos Wilson and call him FBA. That's the trickery and the mind corruption. That is the mind manipulation that they're creating. Well, Amos Wilson was an FBA. That type of talk. Family, the link is in the chat. Hey, cuz, are you able to put the link in the chat again? I'm not sure. Can you, or do I have to do it? So family, I'm gonna go ahead and close up this video from Dr. Sundiata. A dear sister of mine sent this to me. I just think that he really says it very profound. And let's do that.
I'll start from this premise. I do believe that some of them are confused, but I don't think their leadership is confused. I think their leadership are collaborators. They are enemies of our people. They are conservatives and right-wingers. There's three problems we got with ADOS and foundational Black Americans. The first is they're xenophobic. So they can't take a Pan-Africanism because they're against other Black folk at a foundational level. Second, they're promoting integration. They manipulate symbols of nationalism, but their goal is to integrate into capitalist America. They don't even want to transform it. They want to integrate into it. And third, they support global financialized racial capital. In the words of our brother who passed recently, D'Angelo, they want a piece of the devil's pie.
Mm-hmm. I say they definitely do.
So I see this question about in the chat. How can that's the stupidest question ever. I'm sorry. I realized I decided that I'm going to keep my family. Come and join them before we get off of here. Brother Professor Shabazz, if you got something, come on in. If not, it's cool. You know, you make me feel good just being in behind the scene because got my back. You know what I mean? So I'm good with that.
No doubt. I do got a question for you though.
You do got a question? Okay.
Yeah.
And let me read this right here. What I said is foolish. How can FBA be against you all when he has, I'm not even gonna say the name, but let's say Pan-Africanist in his new doc? So the reality is manipulators, that's kind of like saying, how can I be racist and I have white, I've hired Black people. Like, the level of reasoning is off. The level of underestimating his manipulation is off. You probably couldn't have been looking at this show from the beginning, because the reality is, as I stated from the beginning, that this is a very manipulative project from your dear brother, Tariq Nasheed. He's a manipulator. He is. So again, that's like saying, oh, I hire black people. Oh, I hire Mexicans. Oh, I hire people. I'm not ethnocentristic. Okay. But, and also it gives him that it offers up that foolish idea in your mind. Oh, well, he has Pan-Africanism in it. Again, I'm saying he's manipulating your mind. I put these people before you so as you can, so that somehow you think that somehow he's, what he says out of his mouth doesn't matter. Everything he says out of his mouth is against that. He might at times come back and like, well, I don't say all or this or that. That's tricks. And only people who have not awakened are being fooled by the game. Look, I'm starting to question whether or not y'all black people, when y'all acting this damn dumb. Like y'all never seen people try to swindle you before. Again, I gave myself license to get off the chain just a little bit, but I'm questioning whether or not you've been through anything. If you ever met anybody, you must have never gotten over on, or maybe you just love getting gotten over on, or you don't know how people manipulate our people. I love black people. I got black friends. Oh, I'm not racist. I got black friends. Oh, don't you know Tyrone? Tyrone comes over all the time. We drink beer. Like, come on. Let's do better. Think harder. Think harder. Try harder. Try harder. Think harder. With all due respect. Nothing against you. But I did want to be a little shocking when I said it. Dre Day. So, please excuse me for being a bit animated. Brother Shabazz, you want me to bring you up?
Yeah, you bring me up just for a hot second.
Okay. Oh God, where's my mouse? Okay. Okay, you know what I gotta take that off. Okay, I see.
Okay.
What it is, cuz?
What's going on, cuz? How you doing?
Oh, we ain't no gangsters. Or somebody said, y'all keep saying cuz. I don't know. I didn't know that was gangster talk. Well, that's my cousin, biological.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. But here's the question. In answering your question, your lead question, I wanted to try to reframe it for people, because there are people in the chat that say, yeah, you can be both, you can be all three or whatever. And so my question is, okay, can you be a Christian and a Muslim at the same time? Can you be a Republican and a Democrat at the same time? Like literally be these things, not where I can agree with both sides. I can be a Democrat and I can find some ideas that I agree with in the Republican Party. Or, I'm a Christian, but I can agree that there are some things that Muslims do that are okay with me. No, I'm literally asking, can you literally be a Christian?
I'm gonna give one a little bit more.
Okay.
One that hits a little harder. I like the examples, but can you be gay and straight at the same time?
Well, that nails it right there. But that's the question that we want to put to the people, especially the people in the chat. That's like, yeah, we are all the same. We can be FBA and ADOS and African American and Pan-African.
You can call yourself anything, but we know what we're talking about.
Right. When the pedal hits the metal, when you really get down to it.
Yeah.
No, there's distinctions that cannot be overlooked.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing that I just wanted to like I said, I just wanted to bring it up as the framework of the question, because there are people saying, and even the root work dude tried to say that African Americans and ADOS and FBA are all the same, and then he went really off the cliff or whatever. But no, like you can't hold on to these extremely contradictory ideas. and say that it's all the same thing.
You can call yourself what you want to call yourself. Let's do that. Like you can say what you want to say, but what are you doing? You know, again, I'm saying all identities have some qualifying characteristics. Again, you know, a person could probably say that they're Christian and a Muslim, maybe 6 months, like, you know, I mean, maybe I used to like, you know, but I think the gay and straight, maybe you say there's a new category. That's another category called bisexual. So you you might say I'm gay and straight. That means the other categories I'm bisexual. So are you like, that's still, you're not, you can't say you're not, unless you don't identify with the word gay, because I know a dear brother, Cleo Monago, who speaks about that term is not a term that the black community came up with either. So nonetheless, what I'm saying is the actions are what's essential. The characteristics that make up the identity label. People can play those games.
I'll be right back.
All they want. But the reality is, if you're utilizing your brain cells and not playing games, you know that if you just listen to this particular presentation and breathe a little bit and realize that the major that you can only be is there's limits to being FBA. There's limits to being FBA and what you can do as FBA, perhaps. Let's say that. And I can see how people can play with that. But the reality is, as soon as I disagree, they call me a tether.
Exactly.
I'm not sure if they consider me FBA. I don't really identify as FBA. I understand that even if FBA say they're a neutral movement, I know they're not. I know they are a movement that's here to cause division. There's the dear elder Bible been in this work for a long time, and that who just closed out. Dr. Amos Wilson speaks about identity as a prescription for action. You know, he speaks about identity as prescription for action, right? And
define yourself by a word or a label. It is not a mere designation of ethnic characteristics, nor just a designation of people who may look alike to some degree, or share a similar area, or share a particular area. Ultimately, an ethnic identity is a prescription for behaving, for relating to each other in a particular way, for seeing yourself and seeing each other and seeing the world and relating to God and relating to nature and relating to everything else in the world so that it operates in the interest of the group. Must understand that. In the racial designation or identity is a prescription for action, is a prescription for relating.
Yeah, I think Dr. Amos Wilson speaks to it very clearly. I won't even try to say any more.
Right. Right. And I mean, the behavior in the chat kind of shows it too, because even the people that in the chat tonight that have been saying you can be both or you can be all, and the ones that were saying, you know, it's neutral and it's not hate, the second you said something that they disagreed with, they started cursing, they started giving you names, and I'm like, I'm in the chat like block. Oh yeah, like all kind of stuff, and I'm just like,
what were these people
like? Go ahead.
Were these people like Pan-African adjacent?
Oh no. These are the FBA people.
I would wonder if they consider themselves. Did they consider themselves Pan-Africanists? That would be a great question. The ones who were making that argument, do they consider themselves Pan-Africanists?
well, you know, I can't speak for them, but I didn't see anything coming in the chat that would suggest that they were holding a positive attitude towards Pan-Africanism. They were simply trying to say, yeah, you could be FBA and an African American, or you could be an FBA and a maybe one or two said and Pan-African. But again, my whole thing is you can like you can say it, and you can say it and mean it, or you can say it performatively just because you're trying to, you know, get people's attention because you're in the chat and that's the conversation discussion tonight. But again, if you say it, and then as soon as you say something that counters a quote unquote FBA narrative, then they say, well, hey, well, you're just a tether. Well, you just said you can be both. So if you can be both, then sooner or later there's going to be some kind. There's terminology that will come where you're going to have to make a decision. If I say I'm both a Pan-Africanist and an FBA, well, how am I going to handle the fact that I don't like I might not have a problem, or how are they going to handle the fact that I don't have a problem with Africans coming over here? Like, nah, because FBA says no, we supposed to, we gotta call ICE. So you like, no, you can't be both. And then if you say you're both, you're not being honest, or you haven't thought this thing through. Now maybe you haven't thought this thing through. But again, that's why I was like, well, yeah, you know, you can say that I'm a Christian and a Muslim, but you know,
I respect my brother Ted. The other day he said, my brother Ted on the show, on Sincere's show, he said, I used to be Pan-Africanist, but I've evolved out of that into becoming an FBA. I'm part of the FBA movement, and the FBA movement is where it's at. The rest of you, in other words, I'm paraphrasing him saying in saying that Pan-Africanism is old, is outdated, and is done. That juxtaposition is indicative that even what people might say one thing, but in practice, in action, as Dr. Amos Wilson speaks about identity as prescription for action, Tad's understanding is more accurate and more honest, because he's saying that, yeah, this new identity, I took on this new identity because that Pan-Africanism stuff is dead. That Pan-Africanism stuff never got us anything. That stuff is old, outdated. This is what they said. So I would at least be more willing to talk to someone who truly is being honest about it being an identity, or I mean, a movement, quote unquote. All movements have ideological underpinnings or goals.
Right.
So the thing is, those who, I mean, even Sincere, I've heard Sincere say the FBA ideology, and he's like one of the top ones on the internet right now speaking about FBA. I'm not sure if he's one of the top, but he's getting good numbers as of now. But there's others that I don't know. I can't listen to them because I honestly, some of them I can black something and something else, and like all these FBA people with all these Kemetic names and like African names, like these are for them, this is the evolution, and they all speak about how for the most part, when I say all, a lot of them, most of them speak about Pan-Africanism being dead, and now they are part of the FBA movement. And then some try to be a little bit more, let's say, they just say, well, it's not the FBA movement, it's the lineage movement, it's the delineation movement. So whatever you want to say, whatever you want, words you want to throw, you want to play games with words, I'm not foolish enough to get tricked up in it. I think that those of us who say these things have to realize that we are out of our weight class when we still think that FBA is not a movement with an ideology. That
this is all I would say is, I mean, that's all true. I'm like, I guess my thing, if you're trying to keep the peace, if you're trying to have a honest conversation, because I got a friend of mine that's on that same type of thing, that, you know, they carry a West African name, And, we have always been, had these conversations about, the struggle, the cause, and this, that, and the other. And they are now on the FBA train and whatnot. And they always trying to ask me, I don't understand why you're not coming over here and whatnot. And I'm just like, but what is the end goal? What is the things like, okay, if you say that you feel like Pan-Africanism is dead, I mean, I vehemently disagree. And I spent a lot of time on my channel trying to show and prove that. But if you do say that it is dead, then what is it that you are working on as the FBA or as a member of the FBA movement? Because again, I'm like, okay, fine. You can feel like it's dead. I don't have to necessarily, debunk that. I can, but what is the activities that you're working on as the FBA? Like somebody in the chat tonight said that the FBA has gotten more done in the past 10 years than anything that coming out of Pan-Africanism or any other Black group. And I said, prove it. And they said, even though it hasn't been accepted, the FBA got the HR 40 bill, the furthest that it's been. And I was like, okay, but look, okay, mostly the HR 40 bill has gotten to as far as whatever it has gotten with the help of an African American who identifies as an African American, who died identifying as an African American, and even the other congressmen and or representatives that picked up that legislation and said, we're going to hold this and we're going to try to get it across the finish line. They are African Americans. They stand in solidarity with other Black immigrant groups who are in Congress or whatnot.
Yeah.
So that's still not an FBA. Like nobody up there identifies as an FBA. So to your point earlier, because you said, I think you said something about, when all else fails, they try to hijack the African American and it's just a name. It's just an umbrella term. That way they can grab hold of all of the achievements that either a Pan-Africanist or just an African American who believes in a particular thing is actually working on.
Yeah, they're dishonest. I mean, you were very articulate with that. I mean, I appreciate your brain and your ability to even sort through that foolishness. So hey, but you did a great job. I mean, I'm proud to say you my family, you know what I'm saying? Like it's definitely trickery, and you actually brought some context to what I was saying as far as how they tried to usurp everybody's FBA to kind of to trick your mind and hit you in an emotional space, and they would just claim anything as FBA. Because the reality is, if they were being honest, they couldn't even, like, the mind fuck, excuse my language, I gotta say it, is that they could, if they really were honest about their own argument, they could never say FBA got it furthest. They could only say FBA got it furthest, because that means the people who also identify as Pan-Africanists, again, who are the those who really did a lot of the groundwork on bringing about that bill or what have you. They are also would have been identified as FBA, but they are saying they are delineating between the Black Americans who have identified themselves as Pan-Africanists. So that's the only way they could say that. So they're not only delineating from Africans and Caribbeans, they are delineating from African Americans who have ancestry from this country just by saying that.
Yeah, they are. It's
because it's not true, but the reality is they wouldn't even have to be able to show that difference. Because the way that they say that everybody's FBA, who sponsored them? Who are the ones who took the bill to Congress and so forth, so on? Who were they before?
Right.
So what is this new? Is FBA a new thing, or is it a thing that's we've always been? Because they're saying they're always double speaking, and that is how they trick your mind. Like they wouldn't even have to say FBA has gotten it further, because what they're saying now, FBA movement, the FBA ideology, the FBA that which is different than those who identified in Cobra and other organizations like that. They're juxtaposing what Cobra has done and organizations like that and people like that against what they're now calling FBA, which is further showing the delineation that they're creating, even with African Americans who have ancestry who came through chattel slavery in this very country. So again, the logic is off, and it's always off. But you have to really think when you hear them talk, and it can become overwhelming and it can sound smart. But the problem is we have to slow down, do a deep breath, and really think. And the reality is everybody's not that type of thinker. Some people are like, I don't feel like dealing with that. And that's how most people like I'm not dealing with all of that. Because it's like, even I'm talking about even those who adopt the label. I'm not dealing with all that. I don't care about that. Those are the ones who are not who position themselves from an apolitical position. They're like, I don't care about all of that. And then there's those of us are like, I ain't even messing with none of that. You know what I'm saying? Because they're like, I'm not trying to sort all this stuff out. And that's because people don't have time to be trying to really think about these mental manipulation tricks that FBA be putting out. I am being very clear. I'm delineating myself from FBA. Although they do it with me, but act as if they're not doing it. Although they do it with people from Cobra, but in the very statement there, they have shown that they're not only delineating from Africans and Caribbeans, they're also delineating from Africans in America with certain ideological frameworks, hence or Pan-Africanism.
Exactly.
You cannot be FBA, ADOS, and Pan-African. And I think that Yvette Carnell would tell you clearly that ADOS is a political movement. Yeah. We know that ADOS is a political movement and that Tariq hijacked it, but now he wants to call it a lineage. We know that FBA, that ADOS created the template for a FBA. We know that Tariq just changed the name and did some strange things with it, but we're acting as if one can be a political movement who call themselves American descendants of slavery, and then others, the next iteration of it, which is FBA, is now not a movement. Is not now they don't have leaders, and so on and so forth. He disconnected himself from Antonio Moore and Yvette Carnell, but then he creates his thing and said, oh, it's not a movement. Oh, we don't have leaders. Oh, but it's the very same thing.
I mean, he had to delineate from them because he doesn't. I ain't trying to say this to throw a shot, but he don't have the skill set to approach it the way they did. I don't like them, and I disagree with them, but they definitely have a political mindset on how to approach legislation and legislators, and he don't have that. So of course he don't want to deal with that. He want to keep it social.
James Harlem is in the house. I don't know what's going on with James Harlem, but we'll bring him up. As long as he's respectful, he can stay on. Let's see. My mouse is dying. Okay. All right. Brother Cuz, I'm gonna put. Okay, if James fixes his camera and make it look good, we can get him. You're gonna have to get the camera together, James. I'm looking at you. I trust you can get it. All right, man. Look, I see you, man. You got your melanin popping too, bro. Just keep it right there. Mr. Harlem, can you turn it sideways like landscape? I want the full box. Oh God, what happened? So, oh no, yours ain't working. Just go ahead and do your thing. I'm gonna bring you in. Turn it the other way, back like you had it. It didn't switch. Okay, right there. All right. Get back to your position. I want the picture to look good for the family. I want them to see who this scholar is who's coming on to talk. All right, Mr. Harlem, where you calling from? I'm assuming Harlem, but I could be wrong.
Your assumption is correct. I'm in Harlem right now. I'm definitely a FBA foundational American black man.
All right. What it is? What's happening?
Yeah, I briefly caught some of the things you guys were saying, and if I'm correct, there was some confusion about us blacks in America calling ourselves foundational black Americans. Am I correct?
No confusion.
Oh, well, that's great. Okay, can I ask you a question?
I mean, let me make sure I'm understanding what you mean when you say confusion. Maybe spell that out, and I'll tell you whether or not. I think when you say confusion, you might mean that there might be some disagreement.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I do disagree. Yeah.
You do disagree with people who were formerly called African Americans, and I say formerly because I no longer consider myself an African American as far as identification purposes, but it can be applied.
But are you on your Mr. Harlem? Are you in your earpieces? Because it sounds horrible. I want to make sure the people can hear you.
Is this better, or is it too loud or too?
Now I'm wondering if you can take your earpieces out and talk directly into your phone.
Okay, I can do that. Let's see if I can turn on the speaker.
What was that you cuz? Oh no, I can't hear you at all now. Jeez. Mr. Hall? All right, so, Mr. Hall, I'm gonna let you get that together, and I'm gonna bring you back up. I'm gonna watch you from when you put your thumb up. I'll bring you back on. When you put your thumbs up, I'll bring you back on. But yeah. So, cuz anything else about Mr. Harlem gets that together?
No, I'm good. You know what I'm saying? I can I'll fall back if you want. I wanted to hear what he was gonna say, but well, clearly he already said that he's pro FBA. So
yeah, I mean, I want to hear. I mean, but I appreciate if you do stick around and if you got the time and have the dialogue with the brother.
Yeah, that's cool. I want to hear. I want to hear at least what he's saying. I'm again looking at the chat, and I think it's just funny. People just have this. To some extent, people just want to hear their ideology spoken. Like, so as soon as somebody says I'm an FBA, then the chat, the FBA people, yep, y'all getting cooked. Like, ain't been no conversation yet. Ain't been no debate. Ain't been no difference of opinion. You getting cooked because somebody says I'm FBA.
That's one of their ideological catechisms. That's just something they say. It's kind of like it must be algorithmically friendly for FBA. It doesn't really mean anything. It's just they've been trained well. So due to their training, what they do is they just say the same words over again. Y'all being cooked. Oh, y'all off code. That's tether babble. Or that's just say the thing. You don't have to even incite the response, but that's just what they do. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just what they do, bro. When that's a thoroughly trained following. I don't even want to say cult because they give cults a bad name. So I don't, that would, let's hashtag that. FBA gives cults a bad name. So we won't call them a cult. That's a hell of a following for an influencer. But Mr. Harlem, let me not disrespect Mr. Harlem. Oh, my pardon, Mr. Harlem. I forgot you were here, and I want to be respectful. Mr. Harlem, are you gonna come back on though? Oh, is that what it is? Someone said his TV is on. Is he like listening to it and also calling in? Is that perhaps what he's doing? Mr. Harlem, are you there? Okay, Mr. Harlem, I can't. I don't know if Mr. Harlem's gonna make it on, but family, anybody else want to jump? I really did want to speak to Mr. Harlem. But again, I just want to say again, in closing, this was I hope that people were fed by the presentation. Because I know to kind of respond to what you're saying here, I don't expect everybody to agree. Mind manipulation is a process, you know, to remove yourself from authoritative mind control. It's a difficult process. It's a process to see things in a different way when you've been ensconced in a certain ideological perspective. As some of our greatest thinkers say, it's essential to interrogate your ideas. I interrogate my ideas. I critique Pan-Africanism. I critique African-centered thought. I have a whole presentation that I'll be giving at the Association of Black Psychologists 57th convention here in Baltimore in the summer, which is really further evolving and critiquing what I'm calling the reclamation of psychology through my NGA framework. I do think that there has been issues with the way that we've practiced. And I'm not even saying issues in a way. I think that the issues are there. Yes. But what I mean is the issues are also to some degree needed. This is not malicious stuff I'm speaking about. I'm speaking about that there's some beliefs that I believe still get in the way of our healing. There's some approaches that get in the way of our healing, individual and collective healing. And we have to always evolve, and we have to always be analytical and critical of our own frameworks to see how and if they've evolved to also fall in the category of what Baba Wilson spoke about when he spoke about the let me see if I can find it. When he said that in other words, when he spoke about this idea of identity, many times, especially of oppressed groups, are being formed by the oppressor themselves. So many times, even when you're forming an identity, if you're not critical of those identities and frameworks, you may think you're doing something that is powerful, liberating, freeing, but you might be just doing the opposite, perpetuating the framework. Mr. Hall, I'm not sure I don't know. I don't see you on here anymore. I'm not sure if you're trying to come in. I see you, but what I'm going to do, let me do this real quick.
Okay.
I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to bring Mr. Harlem up, because you stay there. Mr. Harlem, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
can you hear me?
Oh, you sound good.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to share my opinion. It's the first time me calling your show. I appreciate the intellectual manner that you guys are conducting yourself with, and it is a breath of fresh air from from other places I've been. I particularly wanted to ask a question concerning Black people in general, but I will be more than happy to answer the question that you have posed to me. I believe first, as far as my beliefs about being FBA.
Well, I think you were asking me whether or not I had any confusion around FBA. And then I said, no, I don't have any confusion what FBA is. But then I said, well, perhaps the way that you're stating this question, you may mean I may have interpreted different than how you wanted to land. So I reframed it to ask you, do you mean that I have some confusion? I disagree with the label FBA to describe Black people here in America whose ancestry come through chattel slavery on this particular in this particular country.
I understand. The reason why I'm attracted to it, and also think that it should be something that we use because of its actual meaning, foundational Black American. And I understand that it was born out of necessity. The necessity to distinguish ourselves amongst other Black people whose ancestors did not make the contributions that ours have made, yet reap the same or even more of the rewards that's being offered by this country. And I also believe that
Can you say that part
reparations,
again about the rewards?
they reap some of the rewards that our ancestors, when I say our ancestors, the people who came before us, some of who's still here, but all that they went through just to make America a better place for Black people who were the descendants of those who were enslaved or those who went through the hardships for hundreds of years.
Can we deal with that? What you said so far?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I appreciate that framework that you're looking at, and I feel like it's a very authentic lens that you're looking through. But there's no evidence, and there's no necessity to create a new identity label to reap those benefits or to make sure these things are allocated towards those who you call FBA. That the label FBA does not safeguard that. It's the way that is written into law, policy, procedure. It's also what you're really saying is you want to have certain benefits be directed towards certain people from a certain genealogical background or origin.
The reason why that's essential is because our people have contributed so much willingly and unwillingly. And there are people who just arrived. They are brothers and sisters.
What did you hear me say though? I want to make sure that you really, because I hear you saying something in return, but I'm wondering if you have any, like what you heard me say. And I'm also wondering, after, I just want to be clear, you actually heard what I said.
What I've heard you said was that there was no real necessity for us to do that. And I was trying to explain from my standpoint the necessities, and maybe I was being a little bit long-winded to get to the point. I'm just trying to be perfectly
no,
clear.
You started. I just want to. So you said you said, so you picked up that I said there's no real necessity to change or create a new label to make sure that we receive those benefits or rewards or whatever you're identifying here. There's no necessity for a new label. You're clear on that?
I'm thinking you were verbatim from what you said, what I heard you say.
Yeah, I mean, are you following me there? Like, there's like,
yes, sir.
So with that, I would like to hear why you think that the label is necessary.
Okay. The label is necessary because delineation is necessary, and I feel delineation is necessary if the people who did the hard work of building America, which were some of the Black Americans that were enslaved, some of the indigenous Americans who were considered or should be considered Black, the people who founded this country and fought in the wars voluntarily, even
You
involuntarily,
mean African Americans, right?
involuntary. Um,
African American.
that term I will use for the description of the people I'm talking about. But FBA in the delineation is what's needed for
Why?
the purpose
Why?
of reparation.
There's
Reparations are
there's no need for it. Everybody
there's
already
no need for
knows.
reparations.
No, there's no need to change the term. African Americans are the same people. The people that you identify as FBA are clearly African Americans.
Okay,
There's no
I'm
one
sorry.
that they're clearly African Americans. One, and two, even if one identifies, let's say 3 generations from now, you're a third, your genealogy does not have you, your genealogy is different. What you're asking for is someone to read to have certain benefits due to their lineage claim here in America. That's all that's enough.
Can I
That's
ask you a
enough. You don't
question?
have to create a new name.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
Can a white person that was born in Cape Town
No,
come
no,
over here and be
no.
African American?
I already know it. No, not at all. Because when you
So
look up the
Elon
term
Musk
African
is not a
American, when you look up the term African American, it's going to clearly tell you who they are. And they act that they're Black descendants of Africa whose ancestry came through American chattel slavery.
so Elon Musk could not put
No,
African American on his passport.
no, he can't. You weren't anybody can put anything they want to put, right? But if let me give you an example. Well, not on his passport, perhaps, but let's say census wise. If you wanted to put that you're Asian, you could do that. You know what I mean? So let's be clear about that. Okay, so two, Elon Musk, no one will take him as being an African American, nor does the description of African American describe him. This is real. Just Google it. Make sure you're not on
Okay,
the FBA
so
site though.
someone who's from Africa, born in Africa, be they Chinese or any non-Black, if they come to America,
No, sir. They
they
cannot
they just going to
identify
be
as African.
American.
No,
Okay,
they won't.
they
No, they would be their ethnic origin. Their ethnic origin. So what they will be is perhaps let's say they're Asian and they move and they're now South African. They'll be South African American.
okay.
South
They would
Africa is
be
is a
South.
country.
I understand. So they
You
can
can't take
be
the South
South
off.
African. They can be South African, which is still African, but they can be
No,
South
South
African
Africa is something
American.
very different than, and it has its own. And then within South Africa, they have their own ethnicities. You got what I'm saying?
I
Their own
understand what
racial
you're saying.
category.
I understand what you're saying, but the same way you could say they can be South African, it's just bears the reason that they can just forget
No,
the
that's not
South
how
and
it
just
works.
say
Though.
African.
No, it doesn't work
I
that way.
mean,
I want
it
you to do some
it sound like it's your definition. It sounds like it's
No,
your
I want
definition.
no, don't insult me.
No, sir, I'm
What
just telling you what it sounds like to me, and that's not an insult. I'm just being honest with you.
Listen to what I'm saying, Mr. Harlem. I said research. I know you're not doing any research because you, like what I mean is I want you to Google this. This is quick. Do it. It's an easy fix. It's not my definition. All you need to do is take as much energy as you do when you listen to these frauds and put it in a Google search. Make sure it's not an FBA source.
Okay, I will definitely have more a more defined explanation, but let's see.
Can't you do Google now?
Right now I'm just saying
phone
calls, everything.
Is it okay? I mean, I appreciate you honestly, because I hear that you, I mean, and I don't want to trigger you or nothing, but I can hear that you are genuine. I can hear that. I know that, you know, maybe what I'm saying is not something you want to hear, but I do hear that from what I've heard so far, you're a genuine person.
But
pardon? All right. Cuz you got something? Mr. Harlem is
I Googled it. I just Googled it like you asked him to do. So you know, I'm telling you, like Google will tell you, you know, that you can't even put that stuff on the passport. Now, maybe he don't literally mean passport, but like Google says,
look,
well, I know.
Because can I cut you off? Hold up. Let me cut you off real quick because my man, Mr. K, always talking about I'm the Pan-African peacemaker and you the Pan-African destroyer, but you seem to got more skills in giving people the benefit of the doubt than me. Come on, Mr. K. Who is the Pan-African peacemaker and who is the Pan-African terminator? Go ahead, cuz.
No, and I'm like, so okay, I did the search on Google. And so Google says, as with Elon Musk, a U.S. passport and most state driver's licenses do not even list race or ethnicity. These documents verify legal identity.
Say that again, because Mr. Holland's back, so I want to make sure you tell him exactly what you just did.
It says, and this is Google, this says, as with Elon Musk, a U.S. passport and most state driver's licenses do not list race or ethnicity. These documents verify legal identity, citizenship, and residency, not heritage. A Jamaican, a Ghanaian citizen would have their specific country of birth and citizenship listed, not a racial descriptor.
So that would mean racial descriptors wouldn't apply to anyone.
Well,
that would mean racial descriptives wouldn't apply to anyone.
Well, no, I mean, I don't know if that's what that means. What's that? What do you mean by that? I'm looking on my license to see, because I could have swore that that there was black or something on there on my license.
I was wondering too, but I'm like I said, I'm just reading what came off of Google.
You might be right, because that B on here says restriction. Maybe black is a restriction. I got a B on my license. It said restriction, under restrictions. I mean, I got a B class license, right? Or no, classification C.
Now we looking at licenses. We not looking at passports.
Yeah, you looking at passport right now?
I'm trying to grab my passport.
Oh, B on my license mean corrective lenses.
Okay.
All right, so you might be right there, cuz you might be right.
But it actually says it says there are no ethnic descriptors. So Elon Musk cannot put African American or any other ethnicity on his U.S. passport because U.S. passports do not include a field for race or ethnicity. A U.S. passport only lists nationality as United States of America as a place of birth, which for Elon Musk, it would say South Africa.
Question. Once again, let's just take another part of Africa. A citizen from Africa comes over here and becomes a citizen in America. Do they carry their continent first, then American, or do they carry their race first, then American? would they be able to say that I'm an African American that comes from Kenya?
Can I answer that? Well,
Yeah, go ahead.
first and foremost, they're going to go by not their continent. They're going to go by their country of origin in most cases. It's a clear definition of what an African American is. It does not, and it also depends on what you're speaking about. If you're like he just shared with you now from it seemed to be accurate so far that this is not on licenses and perhaps passports, but what is on. So that let's get that out of the way and make that clear, right? Because we will begin to move the goalposts, right? So initially, so he answered your question. Like, go and look at your license and tell me if your race or ethnicity is on there. I'm not sure. It might be different state by state, but for sure, I looked on mine, and as of yet, I haven't seen my ethnicity there. I could have overlooked it, but that's one. Two, genealogically, they can't say that they're African American. In most cases, they don't even want to say they're African American. They would rather say that I'm Nigerian, I'm Jamaican, I'm Trinidadian, I'm Bahamian, I'm all these things.
None of those are ethnic descriptions.
What are you talking about?
When I say ethnic, I mean as it pertains to race. If
Are
you're
you saying that
a Jamaican is the place that they're from, the lineage could be black. It could
okay, what's their lineage?
Most Jamaicans that we are familiar with are black. When you think of Jamaica, I think
you're messing up though. You're messing up. See, you're not a real good FBA spokesperson. Because
we're not talking about FBA right now. We're talking about other things. But if we want to go back to FBA,
no, that's the whole point of the conversation. What are you talking about?
Okay, well allow me to get back to my point.
You called in, and you said I'm a proud FBA. And
allow me to get
FBA,
back to my point.
The ideology of FBA, they say that other people don't call themselves black. Let's get that correct first. Although that's false.
Not all.
I didn't say all. I didn't never say all, but because people have their
it sounds like it.
I said most, and if I didn't say most, let's clear it up and say most FBA.
You didn't say most.
Okay, that's okay. Let me say
and
now.
You can't speak for most, and it's not fair for you to speak for most. It's not fair.
From brother, I'm giving
it is not
you some
fair.
grace.
It's not fair for you to say most.
Let me talk, because you are not a good FBA representative.
You haven't let me finish representing.
And what I'm saying is the reason why I'm saying I want to do one thing at a time, because you're moving the goalposts. What's on your license? Let's start with that.
I was just double checking as we talk, but
okay, I'm gonna give you a moment.
While I'm taking the moment, let me be a good representative of FBA to my best ability. As I was saying,
let's deal with I want to give you a moment to see if you have your ethnicity on your license. Perhaps it's something in New York State that's different than Maryland and Virginia.
I have a South Carolina license.
Oh, South Carolina. Well, maybe there's something different in South Carolina, my Harlem brother, that is different.
It's possible.
You know, you might be Geechee.
Yeah, I am.
Okay, well, you damn sure African. Okay.
And I do believe that Africa is the starting point of human existence. I explained to some. I have no problem claiming my African lineage at all.
Do you believe that we came over here? Do you think the slave ships exist?
No, sir. I mean, well, not to the degree that we've been taught. It would have been impossible for them to bring that many people on boats.
Dane Calloway.
So who's your teacher? Who's your teacher?
I learned from everyone.
No. Who's your primary FBA teacher?
Okay. I can learn from
well, give me three of them. Just give me three of them. What's your FBA teachers? Who are they?
Elijah Muhammad.
No. They
Well, I'm
when we
speaking
say
about.
FBA,
You said
well,
3.
I'm saying they have to have identified themselves as FBA. I don't want you to make up who FBA. I'm talking about who are your leaders who call themselves Foundational Black American.
I have no leaders, but I do have teachers.
Your teacher,
Now,
your teacher. Pardon.
The teachers that I have and respect most definitely would be Jason Black.
Who is that?
Jason
Is he
Black. He's
FBA?
also yes, he is.
Oh, that's the brother who never turned his camera on.
Not sure exactly about that.
Is that the brother who got the deep voice and he don't turn his camera on?
I know the name sounds familiar, but I can't answer. I don't know him.
Like, okay, Jason Black, brother.
That's a good description.
Okay, cool. Okay.
I would also say, with one you waiting for, Tariq Nasheed. And I will also say Afro Elite.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Why he still got Afro on his name? You need to talk to him about that. Is that more like a hairstyle?
I asked him, issue, date of birth, expiration date, sex.
So you got your license?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. And it makes no mention of race.
Okay. Brother, James Harlem.
Yes, sir.
I think that you mean well, and I'm not going to keep this live going because I think that you said quite a few things that you can't substantiate, and I'm not.
But I never got a chance to explain myself.
Okay, well, all right. Let's. How much time do you need? How much time do you need?
How much time can you give me? And it wouldn't take that long. But how much time
can we do it? Can we get you to say your powerful punch statement in 3 minutes?
Yes, sir.
All right, let's drop it.
Okay. Foundational Black America as a descriptive for those who were chattelly enslaved, those of our ancestors who were chattelly enslaved here. Also for those who may have escaped slavery, but still were here when the foundation of America was established. Those are the people that I am of the same lineage who deserve reparations from this government. I say we deserve reparations because reparations were paid to the slave masters. The people who had our people enslaved, they got money for their losses. There are people from other countries that were inflicted in some manner by America who received reparations. There's no one on this earth, definitely on this planet, who was inflicted more than, I would use the term that we used to use, African American. But there was no one on this earth that was inflicted more than foundational Black Americans. We are here when the foundation of this country was established. We were here before, but we are talking about monetary damages. So we're going to say from the foundation of this country. We need money. We need wealth. We need opportunities that we can give ourselves with the money and with the wealth. That has been scripted from us for all the years that we've been here. Be it if we got it on our own, they would take it. Anything they could do to keep us down, us in particular. I'm not talking about recent Black people who came here or recent Black people who ancestors did not go through. Ancestors who did not go through the suffering that my ancestors went through, me as a Geechee. So yes, the same way they paid all those other people's reparations, we deserve it too. But we have to delineate who gets it. And that's why foundational Black Americans are an excellent term that we can use to make sure this government When we get our reparations, they know exactly who's going to go to, and we can substantiate that we've been here. I don't need no more time.
You did a good. You I don't. Okay. You just okay. I appreciate you. You're wrong, but I do appreciate that you. I do appreciate your love, though. I do. I mean, because I really do feel it. I mean, for all intents and purposes, my lineage. I mean, when I say lineage, I ain't talking about that lineage usage that they use. I'm saying my ancestry has come through that. And I too believe that there's a repair needed. And that we're due some things if we fight for it. But at the same time, I think that there's some things there that's more you put out with that I think that is impossible to measure. One being there's no one on the earth that has been inflicted more than FBA. I don't know how you measure that. I don't know. I've heard a variety of stories in even other directions. I've heard that the worst form of slavery was in this place and that place, and it hasn't always been here. I've heard people say the worst form here was here because we lost certain levels of culture. I've heard other people say on sugar plantations that it was a worse process. I hear people talk about the Dravidians and so on and so on. The Dalit people, the untouchables and all that's going on there. I'm just saying, like, I have no desire to be in Impressions Olympics to substantiate my claim to that Black Americans, African Americans, more specifically, have been done wrong, and that we are and I struggle with the thing that we are owed a thing, because I don't think an enemy owes you any damn thing. I think you have to fight for whatever you get, even if that comes in any form of reparation. We need money. I agree with that. I also think we need education. I think we need critical thinking skills. I think we need, and I agree with you that we need the things that have been stripped from us, including our culture. I would say, though, I would add that we need our culture, and especially here as foundational Black Americans, as you like to call them. I call them African Americans. You still haven't shown me any reason, any point, any idea why that term is a necessity, when it's purely genealogical. Everything you're saying is genealogical. You also said our ancestors our ancestors went through those things, and nobody else has been through those things the way that we've been through. I won't argue or debate that on this continent there has been a unique form, just like there's been unique forms everywhere. Brazil, the Caribbean, the UK, even the African continent. There has been a plethora of ways we've been oppressed. Do I think that that you need to change in the name or from African American, which clearly identifies the group of people? No, you haven't shown me any why you have to substantiate that. Your loose claims and your loose claims such as can Elon Musk is also African American, is also mythology. It's a part of FBA's mythology. I ask you to research. I ask you to go to Google. I ask you to do better. I ask you to put down Jason Black. I asked you to put down Tariq Nasheed. I asked you to put down, who's the other person you said? Afro. I haven't even looked at him enough to know, but I think he's in Hidden Colors. Is he in Hidden Colors?
Now, in no way am I a representative of those people. I am a student of them.
I appreciate
they can like it or not. They can like it or not. I feel I'm a student of them and I appreciate them.
Well,
I'm not a representative of them.
You are a very respectful person. And I get what you're saying here. You are real about this.
Thank you.
You are a very genuine person. And I hear what you're saying. You do not want to misrepresent their ideas.
I'm speaking from I'm sorry.
Yeah. You're speaking from what you've your interpretation of what you've learned from these people. And I can see that, and I appreciate you being respectful about them because you appreciate them. But I also understand why it's so clouded for you, because it's a very clouded construct. I understand why it's difficult for you to lay down a strong claim, because they make a lot of fallacious allegations and mistakes.
Can I speak when you finish? I'm sorry. I just
go ahead.
I'm listening.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
You struggling trying to diminish what I said, and I was very clear when I said that.
I'm struggling to do what again?
Immigrant, black person.
You said I'm struggling to do what? I want to be clear.
To minimize the things that I've said.
And when I'm struggling to minimize.
Right, because it's not coming across right, because I made it clear that an individual who did not have roots to this country hundreds and hundreds of years ago should not get the reparations that belongs to those who built this country. Now, I love black people all over this earth. I do believe, and one of the main reasons I called here was because I want to ask you, because there are some people who are FBAs, even have a platform, but they want to think that black people in America are the only black people. That shit is, excuse my language, that's crazy to me.
That's what I'm telling you.
Crazy. That's crazy to me. And I sometimes frequent a particular show because I realize that this person is trying to brainwash a generation of young black people who are attracted to him by saying that foundational black Americans are the only black people that can use the term black, which is ridiculous. And I try to get
you're not totally indoctrinated. You one of those people who say you're a Christian, but you don't believe the Bible literally.
I'm not a Christian. I don't believe in any religion.
No, I'm using the metaphor. You like you are not a strict adherent. You are blasphemous to some.
But there's nothing to adhere to. Foundation black Americans.
Hold on. What time did you come into this?
50 million people deep.
Did you come into this presentation? What time?
I'm not sure, but I'm fortunate to be here.
No, you're a peaceful brother, man. But look, no, I'm saying, did you come from the beginning?
No, sir, I didn't.
Okay, go look back at this. I want to see you next week or something. Holler at me. Hit me up. We'll talk more. I appreciate the time. I'm not struggling with articulating your points. That's a very clear FBA point, that they don't believe other people are due to what happened to them on this and what they are owed here. I'm not struggling with that at all. I'm very clear on that. I just disagree with that. I disagree with the idea that one, that you're going to get it that way, and two, that your oppressor is going to liberate you, and three, that there's not something we're going to have to fight for and take out on our own, and that we need African and Caribbean and all the allies. I think that you're a bit more nuanced in your approach and perspective. You're a bit of an outlier, and you don't want to be identified strictly with some of the FBA foolishness. However, you identify with FBA because you feel like it's a good term. I think you're very clear on that. I just think that you're still unclear on what your teachers are teaching. And I appreciate you, brother. You take care.
Thank you very much.
All right. Peace and blessings.
Absolutely.
Cuz. Send us home, cuz. I got to get out of here, man. I got to get out of here. I appreciate the brother Harlem, man. I ain't going to lie. I really appreciate brother Harlem. I'm hearing you saying something about in the chat too, cuz I'm coming for you next. I don't know if I read it right. People can call themselves what they want to call themselves, whatever. Right?
What I said was somebody in the chat said, if a person tells you I identify as FBA, and you respond to continue to call them African American, then that's disrespect.
Oh,
and
okay.
I said, okay, I got you. I agree with that. Like I personally, I don't have a problem with anybody saying I'm FBA. You can call yourself whatever you want to. Kujichaga Leah, that's all on you. So if you tell me like male or female, we cool, we enemies, what have you. If you say my label is FBA, I'm fine. I will call you FBA. That's what I was saying in the chat. Now, that don't mean I agree with anything. Most of the people in the chat still saying FBA this and FBA that, and we got to look out for ourselves, and they want our reparations. And no,
I mean,
like, okay,
but I appreciate it. They helping the algorithm. You know what I mean? They're fighting for the cause. They're fighting for the cause. They're fighting for their political. Look, what do you expect when you have a political identity? I want to hear how many of them. I'm gonna pose the question: how many FBA in the chat before we go are also Pan-Africanists, and how many aren't? I want to hear it. How many of you all who came into this video for this video are saying you are Pan-Africanist and FBA? If you are Pan-Africanist and an FBA, put 1 in the chat. If you are FBA and you believe Pan-Africanism is dead, put 2 in the chat. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got. Because the title of this particular episode is Can You Be FBA, ADOS, and Pan-African? I would argue anyone who thinks that you can be both is deluded. All right, come on now, y'all. Don't y'all got all these words. I want to see the 1s and 2s. If you are FBA and Pan-African, not that you think you can be. If you are FBA and Pan-African, put 1 in the chat. If you are FBA and believes Pan-Africanism is dead, put 2. All right. Hey, cuz, go ahead and send us home. Send us home. They ain't going to do it. They're not going to do it, cuz. Okay, JG11. JG11 don't count, man. JG11 ain't no damn Pan-Africanist. He's JG11, boy, I appreciate you. You crazy. You fight everything. JG11, I want you to mic up and camera up one day. Come up on here, man. Get out of here, man. Everything. You so smooth. I think you might be genuine too. You be trying to, hey, Dr. Asar, look, have you seen the Haitian lady? Oh, Dr. Asar, have you seen the black immigrant who saw this? You ain't never sent me nothing that is pro a Pan-African. Because what you got? Oh, somebody put RIP Tombstone Pan-Africanism. Lord's Child 1. Okay, Lord's Child. All right. So I can't take them seriously. RIP Pan-Africanism. Oh, ADOS have no friends too. Well, the numbers are looking like the lack of numbers, the little numbers we have. I won't even say it's a good sample size, but it still looks like it's leaning perhaps on the is either in the middle with the little numbers we got or leaning towards you can't be both. Or that you're not both. Let me not say you can't be both. You're not both. His FBA lineage Pan-Africanism is an FBA is a lineage and Pan-African is ideology. So the hustle life 12G, are you Pan-Africanists? Okay. Oh, somebody said some super chats or something, brother cuz.
I didn't see no super chat.
I know that's what I don't see none either.
Not recently. No, you had a couple earlier.
Mr. King said, I saw someone with a $5 super sticker, whatever that is. Oh, Kevin. Kevin says, "Call me the Pan African Library, Dr. Dennis." Oh yeah, I like. Yeah. I'll give you that, Mr. K. You are the Pan African Library, and we appreciate it.
Ain't that the truth?
JG11. My wrench. Oh, JG11. JG11 said he won his wrench. Hey, JG11. Look, JG11. You do a good job of trying to convince me that you learned something, but then you can't hold it up for long though, man.
Yeah, he let his true colors come out.
Today, did he show himself today?
Oh yeah. He went back and forth from "I'm for the people" to "Is FBA or you an enemy?"
Oh, is that what he said?
That's how he carried. I'm paraphrasing, but he been getting down and dirty.
But didn't Tariq on his website say you can only have one allegiance? Like you can't have an allegiance to the African diaspora. It has to be to FBA. Like,
yeah, I mean, that sounds like what he said.
I mean, I guess you don't have to be a leader, but but that right there still doesn't add up, because you can't be a leader in FBA. See, typically leaders should be able to be Pan-Africanists, but you're saying that anyone in leadership position can't be Pan-Africanist. You can only have a single, what you call, allegiance. I'm still looking for other super chats. Did he write? Did I miss something? Did I miss something, Mr. K? Because y'all got a lot of comments in here, and I don't see any more. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, oh my God. All right. I don't think I see no more. But hey, cuz, is he responding? Because I'm looking. And
no, I didn't see anything. I didn't see
okay,
anything.
So all right, so I think we probably hit his super chat. Maybe he made a mistake and put an S on there. Or maybe I just overlooked it. Okay, so in closing, family, I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna let the dear Baba. What's the other super chat you put in there, Kevin, brother Kevin? Before you go, just rewrite it. And I trust that it was a super chat, and I don't have a problem putting up. Well, anyway, hold up. I appreciate the super chat. Yeah, do the super chats. Yeah. Can you rewrite it, brother Kevin? Okay, if he doesn't write it, I'm gonna close out. Closing words, if you got any.
No, go ahead. Like, my closing words might not even be positive.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you can do it in 10 seconds, I don't care if it's negative or positive.
Look, just here's the thing. Nobody is against. Well, I'm not against anybody fighting for reparations. I've always been down for reparations. I am against what I say is the wrong, the ignorant, the stupid, the weak, the whack way that most of the FBA advocates are going about getting it. Most of the FBA advocates are not working on securing it. Most of the people who are doing the work are African Americans who identify as African Americans. But that doesn't mean you still can't identify as an FBA. That's your new term. That's your label. That's what gets your juices going. Then go for it. But if the idea is that we as Black people in America, even if it's consolidated to just those of us who descend from the plantations and etc., if there is the idea that we need to be in cohesion and in solidarity even amongst ourselves, then they got to figure out how to remove the vitriolic, xenophobic zeitgeist from their own lips. That has nothing to do with whether or not we include Ghanaian Americans, Nigerian Americans, Jamaican Americans, and so on and so forth. They can't build nothing positive as long as they keep twisting the truth, spewing false narratives, and exuding vitriolic hate. I'll land there.
I appreciate it, dear brother. I mean, you dropped that one. I mean, I'm not even gonna say anything else, but thank you, family. Brother Professor Shabazz dropped it, and I'm gonna let the elder restate it, and I'm gonna say, and we're gonna get out of here. I'm gonna just let the elder come in.
I'll start from this premise. I do believe that some of them are confused, but I don't think their leadership is confused. I think their leadership are collaborators. They are enemies of our people. They are conservatives and right-wingers. There's three problems we got with ADOS and foundational Black Americans. The first is they're xenophobic. So they can't take a Pan-Africanism because they're against other Black folk at a foundational level. Second, they're promoting integration. They manipulate symbols of nationalism, but their goal is to integrate into capitalist America. They don't even want to transform it. They want to integrate into it. And third, they support global financialized racial capital. In the words of our brother who passed recently, D'Angelo, they want a piece of the devil's pie.
Mm-hmm. I say they definitely do.
When you claim you're African, you're going to get your mind back.
If a generalized Black woman is doing this and being this, that is that is irresponsible.
No,
when you claim you're African, you're going to get your mind back.
Showing me,
Black and proud. Claim you're African, black and proud.
I think that
when you claim you're African, you're going to get your mind back.
a page,
what is the status of people
claim you're
with half
African, black and proud. I'm telling you. When you claim you're African, you're going to get your mind back.
That's why I was laughing, because
Black and proud. Claim you're African, black and
I'm not saying the framework doesn't do a thing, but
become a part of it.
We've been
Embrace
Forward
it.
to Black men
Become a
being the
part of it.
masters, being
Embrace
in the
it.
control. We
Become a part of it.
Only
Embrace it.
that those one of the
Become a
best
part
stories I've
of
ever
it.
heard.
Embrace it. When you claim you're
have
African, you're going
mastered
to get your mind
that
back.
mental growth takes
Black
place.
and
You've
proud.
been
Claim
misled
you're
by
African,
leadership,
black
for
and
instance,
proud.
that
I'm
think
telling
you
you.
can consume.
When you claim you're African, you're going to get your mind back. Black and proud. Claim you're African, black and proud. I'm telling you.